Welcome back everyone to Chapter 1. Before we move on to 1.2, I'm just going to do a brief recap. So we said in Chapter 1 we're solving linear equations, and we were starting specifically with our two standards down here at the bottom. There are 4 standards, but we're still going to focus on these top 2. So what we're doing is we are solving linear equations. We will get to absolute value towards the end of the chapter, but we're solving linear equations, and as we do that, we are explaining our steps and what we are doing. Now, 1.2, we're going to be solving multi-step equations. So in 1.1, we were solving simple equations where we just had to perform one operation to get our variable by itself. Now we're going to add on a couple operations, a couple steps, so they're going to be a little bit more in-depth. So solving multi-step equations, we have 2 steps. First of all, simplify both sides of the equation, and then I'm going to kind of add on there if necessary. Sometimes you have to simplify, sometimes you don't. Sometimes you only have to simplify one side, sometimes you have to simplify both, and we'll take a look at that. And then number 2, solve for the variable. Okay, so let's take a look at some of these. Examples. Number 1, solve each equation, check your solution. Now I know it doesn't say to justify your steps, but we're going to do it anyway, just so we have a lot of good practice with it. So, take a look at letter A. Negative 2n plus 3 equals 9. We have to solve for n. Now, if I take a look at the left side of the equation, there is nothing here for me to simplify. I don't have to distribute, I don't have to, well, I can't add because I can't add a 2n with a 3. So there's nothing to simplify. Over here, you just have a 9. Again, nothing to simplify. So we are ready to just solve and get the variable by itself. Now, here's your n. N is your variable. It's his house. We want to get him by himself in his house so that he can go to bed. He's very tired. Negative 2 over here is really close to that n. He likes him. He is his best friend. He's holding his hand. He's giving him a hug. He is not going home very easily or without a fight. The plus 3, on the other hand, he's kind of like on the opposite side of the room, hanging out near the door. He's not that close to the n. So he is probably going to be the easiest to get to go home first or to kick out of the party. So the first one that goes is the one that is furthest from the variable. This is a plus 3. The opposite of plus 3 is minus 3. So we're going to subtract 3 from both sides. A positive 3 and a minus 3 go to 0. We bring down the negative 2n. Equals 9 minus 3 is 6. Justification, we subtracted 3. That is your subtraction. Property of equality. Then remember, I'm still trying to get the n by itself, and this negative 2, his best friend, is holding on really tight. He doesn't want to go home, but he is now the only one left in the house with the n, so it's time for him to go. Yes, this is a negative 2, but it's a negative 2 times n, and the opposite of multiplication is division. So we're going to divide by negative 2. We're going to divide by negative 2. Negative 2 divided by negative 2 cancel each other out, and we get an n equals 6 divided by negative 2 is negative 3. And our justification was we divided by negative 2. So division, property of equality. Now that n is by himself, this should be our solution. And the last thing we have to do is check it. So I'm going to bring it back up, and we're going to substitute it for our n. So our check, we're going to have negative 2 times negative 3 plus 3 equals 9. Negative 2 times negative 3, a negative times a negative is a positive 6. Plus 3 equals 9. 9 equals 9, and we're good. Letter B. Negative 21 equals 1/2 c minus 11. So once again, on the left, there's nothing to simplify. It's just a negative 21. On the right, you have a 1/2 c, you have a minus 11. They don't go together. They're not like terms, so there's nothing to simplify over there. So we just start trying to get the c by itself. Now again, 1/2, he is right next to that c. He's hugging him. He's holding on for dear life. He doesn't want to go home. Minus 11, yeah, he's kind of out here to the side. He's hanging out near the door. This guy goes home first. The opposite of minus 11, we're going to add 11. We're going to add 11. These two are going to cancel. Negative 21 plus 11 is negative 10. Equals 1/2 c. We bring it down. Justification, we added 11. We added 11. That is the addition property of equality. Now we have to get rid of our 1/2. Now, that is 1/2 times c, and the opposite of times is divide. But dividing by a fraction, really messy, kind of weird. So the other way we can do this is we can look at what's called the reciprocal. And the reciprocal means we're going to take the 1/2, we're going to flip it upside down to 2 over 1. And 2 over 1 is just 2. So I'm going to multiply both sides by 2. Now I want you to think about this. If you take 1/2 times 2, or you take 1/2 of 2, what's 1/2 of 2? Well, that's just 1. So really, these are going to cancel and go to 1, and you're just going to have 1c. On the left, 2 times negative 10 is negative 20. Justification, we multiplied by 2, so multiplication, property of equality. C is by himself. This should be our solution. Last but not least, we have to substitute it back in and check our answer. So I'm going to bring it back up here, and I'm going to substitute it for C. So we're going to have negative 21 equals 1/2. Substitute in the negative 20, and then minus 11. If we simplify, we have negative 21 equals, what is 1/2 of negative 20? Meaning take negative 20 and cut it in half. That's negative 10 minus 11. Negative 10 minus 11 is negative 21. Negative 21 equals negative 21. We're good to go. Letter C, negative 2x minus 10x plus 12 equals 18. Take a look at the left. Is there anything you can simplify? And the answer is yes. So I'm looking at negative 2x and I'm looking at negative 10x. And I'm going, oh, they are like terms. They both have x's. So this is like saying negative 2 apples minus 10 apples. Okay, x's are kind of confusing. So let's think of a basket of apples. And then the other thing that's kind of confusing are the negatives. Well, think about it this way. What if I had like 2x plus 10x? That would be like 2 apples plus 10 apples. Well, what's 2 apples plus 10 apples? Well, that's 12 apples. But it's really not apples, it's x's. So 2x plus 10x is 12x. So this is called combining like terms. Okay, that's kind of a side note. But anyways, let's go back to our original problem. If I have negative 2 apples and negative 10 apples, that would give me negative 12 apples. So I'm going to put these two together. And if I've got negative 2x minus 10x, that's negative 12x. Now, this plus 12, I can't put him with the negative 12x because this is an x and this doesn't. So these are apples, these are oranges, and yes, they're all fruit, but he's just going to kind of stay over there and have his own little pile of oranges. Equals 18. So on this one, we simplified the left. You can't simplify the right. So the justification I'm going to put right here is just simplify. Now, once we've simplified, we're going to start solving just like we did before. So, negative 12 is attached to the x. He's not leaving very easily. Plus 12, out the door. Opposite of plus, minus 12. These are going to cancel. I'm going to bring down the negative 12x equals 18 minus 12, 6. Justification, we subtracted 12 from both sides. That is your subtraction property of equality. Then we have to get the x by himself. So we finally have to yank away that negative 12. This is negative 12 times x. Opposite of times is division. So we're going to divide by negative 12. Negative 12 is going to cancel negative 12. We're going to be left with x equals. Now, a positive divided by a negative is a negative. And then we have 6/12. Well, that is a fraction, and we're going to have to simplify. And both of those divide by 6. So 6 divided by 6 is 1. 12 divided by 6 is 2. So 6 over 12 simplifies to 1/2. And more importantly, negative 1/2. Justification, we divided by negative 12. We divided by negative 12. So I'm going to go with division. Property of equality. Now we have to take that back up and substitute to check our answer. Now in our answer, do we notice that there's an x here and there's an x here? So you have to substitute it in both places. So I'm actually going to do it down below so I have a little bit of extra room. So we're going to have negative 2, and then we're going to substitute in times negative 1/2. Then we're going to have minus 10 times negative 1/2 plus 12 hopefully equals 18. Okay, let's give this a try. First of all, a negative times a negative is a positive. And then half of 2 is 1. Again, you're taking half of 2. That's 1. Then a negative 10 times a negative 1/2 is a positive, and then you're doing half of 10, which is 5. Then we just have a plus 12 equals 18. So 12 plus 5 is 17, plus 1 is 18. 18 equals 18. Check, we're good to go.